and welcome to Thrift Shop Biography. This is the one about Adam Ant. Thank you for listening. Hello, Cleo.
Hello, Richard. You all right?
How are you?
I asked first.
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. You're not allowed to ask first. It messes up the format.
No.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, yeah.
Good.
Because we've been reading a book by a hero of the 80s, Adam Ant.
Oh, yeah, I love Adam Ant.
I love Adam Ant.
Always have done.
Me too. I used to dress up as him when I was a kid. Him and Boy George. You know, I alternated.
Did you really?
Yeah, I got the knickerbockers because of him. I begged for them a long time and finally got them. Like maroon corduroy knickerbockers that cut off just below the knee, you know, with a little buckle. And then I'd dress up as Adam Ant and put the white stripe across my nose. I did that a fair amount. Why, didn't you?
Do you know what?
Didn't
I've never
everyone?
dressed up as Adam Ant or Boy George, actually.
What?
So, did you like this book?
I loved the book. I knew he had mental health problems, but now I see where they're from, and it's pretty damn sad. And I just feel like I really support him now. And in fact, when I finished this book, I picked up the computer and I bought tickets to his show.
Ah, nice.
That's actually what it is. So I'm going with my old childhood pal that I used to dress up with as well.
Are you going to wear your knickerbockers?
They don't fit me anymore, funnily enough. I will definitely dress up. Now revisiting him, I realise that he really catered to kids, didn't he, with all the dressing up and the fun. It was really light and, you know,
It's
theatrical.
It was great.
Yeah. So it was just designed for us. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and he was a proper pop star, a proper 80s pop star.
Yeah.
I would go as far as saying he was iconic, actually.
Me too. Did you love his music?
Oh, my God, I loved his music,
Yeah.
of course.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, like with Adam and the Ants and his solo stuff.
Yeah. So it's kids' entertainment, but it's totally music for adults. It's just brilliant music.
I think he is really interesting
Yeah.
in that he kind of came through punk and then went mainstream and then kind of...
Yeah.
Well, I think we should get into it before, otherwise we're going to talk about it too much. But
Yes, we should.
Yes, let's just do it.
Yeah, let's start.
Adam Ant, not his real name.
Not his real name. Stuart Leslie Goddard.
Born in 1954.
Yeah, 1954, North London, St John's Wood.
And his mum and dad, Betty and Leslie, met in 1947. And his mum was an embroiderer for the Queen.
It's amazing. That's London for you. Yeah, and his dad was in the RAF and had already been to Iraq, Iran, Palestine, and then became a driver when he got back. He was a driver for the news to get reporters to the scene really quick. That's what he did.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I didn't know that was a job.
Yeah.
I guess when news breaks, all of a sudden you have to get there as quickly as possible. You
Yeah.
have to be first on the scene. And his job was to get the journalists to be first on the scene.
Yeah. It's like a getaway driver in reverse. Not reverse gears.
Driving people to the scene of the crime.
Yeah, that's it.
But he also says that he was a very snappy dresser. So if mum's like an embroiderer working for the Queen and dad is like a really cool character, this fashion here.
Yeah, there is. And he wore cravats and he was very handsome and he had brill creamed hair. You know, he fancies himself a little bit.
Yeah.
And he was 20 and Betty was only 15. So they didn't get married for 4 years until she was 19. And he said they had 4 really happy years together and then they married. And then it all went to pot.
They spoilt it by getting
Such a
married.
shame. Yeah. Then they fell into that trap and they moved in together into a 2-room Victorian slum.
No running water.
Yeah, no electricity, no gas, no toilet. There was a tap on the landing that 8 different families shared and one stinky toilet that you had to flush with buckets of water and walk it down the landing. And he lived like that till he was 12.
You kind of don't imagine like post-war London. I mean, went on for a long time, didn't it? People were really living like that for years still.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It just sounds hideous. And his parents had one tiny room that you could just get around the bed. And then he was in a little fold-out bed in the kitchen and that was it.
Wow.
You know, that could have been tolerable if his dad wasn't a drunken, raving madman who came home every single night, drunk and abusive, like yelling, actually beating up his mum in that tiny space. properly traumatic childhood. And there's no getting around it.
I hate it. I feel so sorry for this young little boy, young man, throughout various stages in his life. But this is a horrible start, really.
It really is.
I mean, he loves his mum. He has, of course, this is a classic thing. He's really a ladies' man throughout his whole life.
He is, isn't he?
It starts right here, doesn't it? His mum and her friends, he's kind of borderline obsessed with.
Because he said his mum works in a restaurant and she's got the little black dress and the white frilly collars and cuffs, like classic waitress uniform. So he's already interested in costume, and all the other waitresses look the same and they're all mother figures to him.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have really got a lot of makeup on and stuff, and he becomes a bit obsessed with it and with them.
Yeah. He said they look like kabuki actors. Their faces were literally painted.
Yeah.
And he's convinced that that's one of the reasons why he's so into makeup.
Yeah.
Just like when he was a little kid, he would just be hanging around these really glamorous women.
Yeah, that's right. And all he knows of men is this monster that comes home and beats his mum.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a total tragedy. It's like a Victorian slum tragedy.
But Adamant, he saw his dad be a complete raging, violent alcoholic, and he never drank.
That's right. But it took its toll, because with all this violence and craziness and all the anxiety that was causing him, he got hallucinations from a really young age.
Yeah.
Weirdly, he says he always saw an aquarium. Like, he'd be sleepwalking and stuff, and he was inside a fish tank and all these fish were all around him. And that's what he constantly saw, which is pretty random, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if he ever pissed the bed.
Yeah. He has bipolar disorder, and this childhood has totally and utterly irrevocably damaged this boy. It's caused him major stress. So he gets shingles when he's 11 from stress, from anxiety. This kid's going through some bad stuff.
I think as well, let's not forget that at this time in the 1950s, nobody really knows what bipolar is.
No, they didn't. No, it wasn't a thing.
He's not really getting the attention. He's just sleepwalking a bit and being a bit of a child who retracts into his own imaginary world.
Yeah.
People aren't thinking that he needs attention for a mental illness.
No, they're not
which
at all.
He's so clearly battling from a young age. They just think he's just a bit of an odd child, I guess, who likes being by his own a lot and sleepwalks at night.
Yeah. Nurture, though, because it's bipolar plus, actually it being triggered by trauma.
The situation at home completely exacerbated.
Totally, yeah.
It's kind of like a storm brewing.
It's awful.
It?
Yeah. And he said his mum recalls, "You were a little sod."
Yeah, right. Well, he was. He broke the windows at school, didn't he?
Yeah, oh my God. He said they were like 12 foot by 6 foot. Humongous pieces of glass. And one day he just smashed them in. And everyone sort of said, oh, well, it's probably an accident. So the next day, when they'd fixed them, he did it again.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and then he was expelled.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, that's a real, that's a cry for help, really.
Oh, of course it is.
That's not a normal child.
Of course it is, yeah. It's obvious now.
That's somebody who needs attention.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Wow.
So his mum kicked out Les when he was 7, finally. Thank God. And then they were on welfare, and his dad sometimes got them £4 a week. But of course, he was just spending all the money on drink, so that's where it all went. And his mum's having gynecological problems, probably from being punched in the gut too many times.
Ugh.
So it's that worry as well about your health of your mother, and there's... poor little fellow.
And then he does come down with the shingles.
Yeah.
And actually, what's sad about that, it's really bad timing, because his mum, because of her problems, has to go in hospital to have a hysterectomy.
Yeah.
So she can't look after him. And then the only other people are his older aunt and uncle with the granddad lives. So he can't go to them either, because it puts the granddad at risk. So he has to go into care at the local authority.
So it's basically in a state orphanage. Yeah. And then a foster home after that. Because he didn't even want to leave the hospital, and he got put in a foster home just outside Slough.
Yeah.
And then he met all these kids that didn't have any parents, and he just said it's so sad, because he knew he had them at least.
He knew he could go home, yeah.
Yeah, but he had no idea at that point when he might go home. Mm. So he had that classic spell where you think it might be it. You've got no parents. All very traumatic. And his dad is a total wanker, isn't he, though?
Yeah.
His dad took him for weekends, and he'd be outside at 11 o'clock every single Saturday, because that's when his dad's coming. Sometimes he'd be up to 3 hours late. So that kid's just sat in the street for up to 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, because he'd always be outside waiting for him.
Yeah, well, his dad's an alcoholic, you know, that's completely unreliable, isn't it? It's just...
That's right, and he'd turn up drunk in the car, pick him up and take him to the pub. And he'd just have to sit in the pub waiting for his dad to get more and more drunk. And then they go back to the Grands, where when he'd had just that one drink too many, he'd kick off and get violent and argumentative until he fell asleep. And then he'd have a nice time with his Gran. And that's his childhood.
Oh, I'm so sad
Brilliant.
for this little boy. Honestly, it's just...
I know. Me too.
Yeah. But do you know what? He does have moments of, sorry, before we get too depressed ourselves.
I know.
He does have moments of fun and stuff. And there's this older girl called Ricky who introduces him to rock and roll, and they're listening to Elvis and Gene Vincent.
True.
And then the Beatles happen, and that's all very exciting. And I think Ricky buys him a toy guitar, but Mum takes the strings off, but he doesn't care and he plays it anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not all miserable.
There's light in the tunnel.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, his first acting part, he was a Ukrainian yokel farmer. I mean, that's a highlight. And then he says, I was hooked by the drama. And that's it, isn't it? He does mention yodeling. I think that's when he said he might have got really into yodeling.
What?
Oh, sorry, yodeling. You know what? I think they had a record because yodeling record because he got quite into yodeling. And there's a bit of it on. Is it Stand and Deliver? I nearly did an impression then. I can't do it. He does a bit of yodeling. He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a little yodel tangent. But there you know, that's a high point. It's lots of fun in yodeling. I tell you what, sometimes he went to stay with his uncle, Wally, right? He'd been completely cut off from the family because he'd married an Indian woman, which is obviously awful. But this woman sounded brilliant. She's called Ruth. And she was totally addicted to smoking to the point where his uncle had installed a vending machine in their kitchen. So she didn't have to go down the shops.
Wow.
She actually still had to pay for the cigarettes in their own home.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Isn't it?
But that put him off smoking. So, his dad put him off alcohol and she put him off smoking. So the biggest revelation to me in this entire book is that Goody Two-Shoes, you don't drink, you don't smoke, what do you do, was actually autobiographical.
Yeah.
Because the press used to say it to him all the time. You're a Goody Two-Shoes. Why don't you be on more rock and roll? And he was like, right, all right, I'll write a song about that.
So Mum kind of gets better, and then, you know, they get back together, they live together, him and his mum. He comes out of care, so, you know, he gets a bit of stability and stuff. And then his mum gets a job cleaning for Paul McCartney.
Yes.
Which must have been incredibly exciting for, like, this young man. And he said that he could go to his house and he would walk down. There would be crowds of fans outside, and Adam could just go ring on the doorbell and be let in.
That's cool as hell, isn't it?
Isn't it? Well, then that would have been, what, the 1960s? I mean, the Beatles are the Beatles at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And little Adam gets access to Paul McCartney's house and meets him. I mean, he gives him records and stuff.
Yeah, he got an advanced copy of the Revolver album. That's as cool as it gets.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But he said that Mum is just so unimpressed with everything, which is how she probably got the job, of course, because you don't want somebody starstruck cleaning for you.
Yes,
she
exactly.
said that John Lennon was arrogant and rude and Ringo was really moody.
Yeah, but she liked Paul, which is good to know.
Yeah.
That's nice.
She doesn't say anything about George.
No, it didn't mention George, but she sometimes used to take their rubbish outside and give it to fans who used to cry. It's amazing, isn't it? And young Adam used to walk Paul's dog. And all of this made him very cool at school.
Of course.
Which is
Walking
a bonus.
Beatles dog,
Yeah. By the way, around this time, this MP had done a photo opportunity visit to the Victorian slums because that was his constituency, and he'd been inspecting the living conditions of, and he was absolutely horrified when he came into their building. He came into Adamant's little house, amazingly enough. There must be a photo somewhere. And Adamant's kneeling at his little desk next to his mum's bed in this tiny gap, trying to do his homework by a little lamp, because that's the only space to do it, and that was the only lamp, which was bad light, which gave him really bad eyesight, which is why he wore glasses. And this bloke was like, oh, what are you doing your homework there? What school do you go to? And finds out that he actually goes to the grammar school. By the way, he's obviously very intelligent and he got into grammar school, passed the exams, but also passed the sort of audition. So they let him in there. And so he was like, you go to the grammar school, I'm on the board there. I've got to sort this out. You can't do your homework like this. And the next thing you know, they've got a 2-bedroom flat in a new estate. And they actually wept when they got in there. And he had a room of his own from the age of 12 and a toilet and running water. You know, that the fact they got lifted out of that hideousness is a total coincidence.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because otherwise they'd still be there.
Shitting in a bucket.
Yeah, yes.
Around this time, Mum gets a new man called Tony. And actually, Adam really loves him. He's a new father figure in his life, and they later get married. And Adam, with 16-year-old Adam, is the best man at their wedding.
Yeah.
So that's really nice, actually. After years of growing up with that hideous man.
Exactly.
You know, things are settling down a bit.
And I'll tell you what, he's a grafter because he had jobs because he wanted a bass guitar. So he was a groundsman at a golf course and he worked at a tennis school. He was a stock manager at a chemist. He said it doesn't matter what job he did, he always did it to absolutely the best of his ability and he was really reliable and hard worker. I love to hear that. He didn't mess around in those jobs. And then he bought himself a bass guitar. And you'd think he'd be off, I'm a musician, but no. He said, no, I'm going to be an artist. And actually, I think it was quite a good one. And in fact, he carried on for years, subsisting himself with painting people's walls and stuff.
Yeah, the youth club commissioned him to do a 15-foot mural.
Yeah.
That's, as you know, that's no easy thing.
No.
So as a teenager, I mean, you were doing it as a teenager, though.
I was. I'm still doing it. That's the difference.
I would say, well, that's a gift then. But what would you say? I mean, how do you decide as a teenager that you're capable of painting a mural? How do you know that?
I don't know. I guess you're just painting a lot of paintings and it's just a bigger one, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, just use bigger brushes. Yeah.
So he is, like yourself, incredibly artistically capable as a teenager.
Yes.
I love that. And when you think about the pop star he became, like, of course, do you know what I mean? That is a hugely artistic person.
It's everything. It's a bit Bowie where it's a bit theatre, a bit art, you know, music, and it all comes together to this performance.
Love it.
Yeah, it's great. So he went to Hornsey College of Art to do foundation, and then he moved on to the degree course and finally left home, got his own room in Southgate, and joined Bazooka Joe, which was a band, a rock and roll revival band in about 1973. Are we at 1974, somewhere around there?
Yeah, around there, early 70s, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's playing bass.
Playing Shadows covers.
That was a big deal back then, the 50s revival, etc.
Yes.
And also at this time, he's beginning to kind of like his interest in ladies is moving to a more grown-up stage as he's discovering sex and stuff. Now, sex happens a lot in this book.
To the point where he is a sex addict for sure, but I think that is actually officially part of the bipolar disorder.
Do you?
You know, it really heightened sexuality. Yeah, I have looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Huge depressions, a massive sexual appetite,
right, okay.
blah, blah. You know, it's loads of that. That's part of it. It's almost his drug.
Yeah, exactly. This whole thing about him not drinking or smoking. It's like, well, you haven't escaped addiction because you're addicted to sex.
Yeah, that is it. That is.
I mean, he even
it.
invents a new word for it. It's pure sex, all one word.
Yes.
Pure sex.
Yeah.
And that's like the sex that he's striving to get. So he's having a lot of sex. Pure sex is the goal. And he finds it with this woman called Carol.
He does. He even says he gives up masturbating so that the only outlet he could possibly have is in another human being. And he's very sensual. I mean, sometimes he describes snogging sessions that last all evening and stuff like that. So he needs that human contact. It's a huge part of him.
So he's having a very nice time with this young woman called Carol. And then this is a surprise, actually, that in 1975, him and Carol get married.
I know, it's weird. They just thought it was the thing to do, and then they moved in with her parents.
Yeah, which
is
isn't ideal,
it's that era when it's just what you should do, and it was a massive mistake. He got very claustrophobic and very jealous, which is a running theme with girlfriends.
Yeah.
Because he shags about. That's the problem. It's like you smelt it, you dealt it, or something like that. He cannot be monogamous. And therefore he assumes nobody else can and gets massively jealous.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Oh, it's just also, getting married at that young age and then living with her parents. It is entirely claustrophobic.
Oh, I know. It's a bad idea.
But he's still in Bazooka Joe. He's going to art school. And actually what happens in 1975 is that there's a new band on the scene called the Sex Pistols. And they actually played support to Bazooka Joe. The crowd were kind of, used to the music that Bazooka Joe were playing, rock and roll covers and stuff. And all of a sudden, this gang of kids get on the stage and
anarchy, obviously.
Kind of confuse everyone, but they're blowing some people away. But Adamant is there thinking, wow, this is the future.
Yeah.
And there was so much energy in the Sex Pistols' very short set. Adam's there in his rock and roll band afterwards thinking, well, this isn't fulfilling. This isn't what I want to do. I want to do something like the Sex Pistols. And he says they spoilt it for him because until he saw them,
yes, exactly.
He was having a nice time with Bazooka Joe. Then all of a sudden, the Sex Pistols come on in and change everything. Well, as we know, they kind of changed musical history. And they certainly did it at the ground level with Adamant right here.
Yeah, and that was St Martin's Art School. They played so few gigs. Each one is legendary. And having to follow that must have been an absolute nightmare. Oh, now here's a song from the Shadows. Oh, no.
I love the Shadows, actually.
I love the Shadows too, but they shouldn't ever follow the Sex Pistols.
Fair dues.
Yeah, so that really sent him into a depression, didn't it?
Yeah. That's the running underlying thing throughout his whole life. It's always there, but things can trigger it.
Yes, it's
and
true.
When they do, oh gosh, he gets really, really triggered, poor boy.
No,
again,
it's really bad.
It's like nobody else is really understanding what's going on with him, and I think least of all himself.
Yeah, true. True.
They don't have a name for it. Nobody's saying to him, you're bipolar.
That's right.
Yeah. He just has a crazy head, and it's terrifying.
That's right, and nobody else is the same. Nobody can relate. He's just on his own with this.
Yeah, and it's the 1970s. Nobody's talking about, look after your mental health, look out for this, look out for that.
No.
The only things we know about mental illness are crazy people on psychiatric wards and monsters and horror films.
It's a bloody good job he didn't get into drugs because he would not be here now. No way.
Well,
anyway, he is still here, so that is good.
That's very interesting, actually, because a lot of these books that we read with these people, they're like mental illness, their depression, whatever. It does drive them to drinking drugs as a form of escape.
Yes, exactly.
And actually, the one thing that kind of saved Adamant, although it almost doesn't very soon.
No, it almost doesn't, yeah.
Is that he doesn't do drink or drugs.
It would have done? It would have masked it. So you'd have blamed the drugs and blamed the drink. And you would not have known that all of this would have been going on in his head.
But that would have been so much more socially acceptable.
Yeah, it would. It actually would.
Crazy person because you were drunk or high.
Yeah, that's true.
But to not be drunk or high and still be a bit weird or whatever, then you're just a bit weird.
Exactly. And also when the depression comes back, the hallucinations come back. Like totally hallucinating without being on drugs. That's, nobody ever talks about that. So anyway, then at this point, he then took loads of pills. He was still at Carol's parents at this point. He took loads of pills, but he told her, he said, I've just taken all these pills. I'm killing myself. They took him to hospital and he had his stomach pumped. And when he came to, he said, I am just killed Stuart. I am now Adam.
Yeah, it's astonishing, actually, how he just reached crisis point and he didn't want to be Stuart anymore. It makes me wonder how, he wasn't serious about ending his life.
No.
But he knew that he couldn't go on as Stuart and he wanted some kind of rebirth.
Yeah. Well, he's having hallucinations and depression as well, so it's all wrapped up in that.
And also, yeah, he took enough. I mean, it was serious enough for him to go to hospital.
Yes.
So there was a certain level of seriousness about it. He took enough to potentially end his life, but he alerted Carol so she could get him help.
Yeah. What's funny is Carol changed her name to Eve after that.
Do you know what? That made me really, really like her.
Yeah, I know.
I just thought, wow. She obviously really, really loves him and doesn't want to lose him.
I know.
Yeah.
She let him move out. She let him go off and be his own person, but she was known as Eve forevermore. Oh, I know.
Wow. I think that's an extraordinary thing.
It is, isn't it?
I also wondered what on earth her parents thought about this whole thing, because they're living in her house.
Yeah, I know.
And the parents have just got this crazy drama going on in their room with their daughter and her husband.
Yeah, I know.
He's had an overdose. gone to hospital and come back as a different person, and then the daughter's changed her name. The poor parents must just be in the house thinking, what the heck is going on?
I think they let the band rehearse at that house as well. I think they must have been quite cool.
Actually, yeah, they did. You know, that's the whole thing, is that they... Do you know what? The one thing I get from this book is, you know, I felt so sorry for this young man, but I think he's a very, very nice young man. He's very polite. He's very respectful. And
he doesn't actually want to hurt people.
Yeah, and I think that her parents probably really loved him as well, and they just accommodated it. And
yeah, I bet.
I'm not saying it was easy for them, but I think if they're going to live with anybody's parents, I think he lucked out when he got Carol and her parents, because they seemed to just completely have kept in touch, and yeah, he still was in their lives after he became Adamant. So
yeah, that's true. And if he told them even a little bit of what he'd been through, you'd want to look after him.
Yeah,
you know, you'd want him to be okay. Yeah,
I want him to be okay. I want to look after him now. Just honestly, this poor fucking man.
Me too. That's why I bought tickets. I was like, I've got to go. He's a survivor. Really, really respect the man. He's still here. He must be celebrated. Anyway, so he moved out, went to live with his dad and his new woman for a while. Then this is where the punk people really come in, because he befriended Jordan. She's this like amazing punk icon. She worked at the sex shop with Vivienne Westwood and Malcolm McLaren, and he really stalked her down because he just went, I need to be friends with her. She's the most amazing woman I've ever seen. And he just worked at it until they became friends, and then they started going to all the gigs together. The punk clubs, the Roxy, the Marquee, the 100 Club, all the ones we've read about, with all the crossover with Billy Idol and Boy George. And, oh my God, it's that whole scene. We're in 1977. It's epic. And he gets Jordan to carve the word fuck on his back with a blade, right? So she cuts it into his back, and he's walking down the King's Road without his shirt on, bleeding a bit. And Derek Jarman sees him. Let's not forget, he's a beautiful man as well. He must be reminded. If anyone doesn't know Adamant's face, it's beautiful. Derek Jarman comes along the King's Road and goes, right, I want you in my film. And he's making this independent film called Jubilee, which was all about punk, and he filmed the whole punk scene of the time, and everyone was in it. Who was in it?
Toyah.
The Slits were in it.
Yeah, everyone.
Toyah's in it.
Jordan's in it.
Everybody from that scene was in it. Jordan's a big part of it, and Adamant's actually in it, which I haven't seen it. Have you?
Yeah, it's crap.
Oh.
Well, it's like an art film, really, other than a film with a strong narrative, you know.
Yeah,
it's a Derek Jarman film, you know. He's an art house auteur, and he was jumping on the zeitgeist. And no, it's an interesting little movie for sure, but it's not for everyone. I wouldn't say run and watch it.
No, it's more like a historical document now, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
almost.
for sure. It's
with
not
all those people
like,
in it.
It's not Forrest Gump.
It's not Back to the Future, is it?
No.
So anyway, he describes it. I mean, we have covered the punk scene a bit in other books, but he really says, talks about how everyone always thinks that punk's just one big happy family, but it was like two camps, because the two blokes that were like managers, one was Malcolm McLaren and the other bloke managed the Clash. I forgot his name now.
Bernie Rhodes.
Yes. And so they were like completely divided, and you were either on the one side, the Bromley contingent, Billy Idol, Susie Sue and that lot, or the other side, X-Ray Spectre, the Slits. I can't remember who's on which side, but they like completely kept apart and didn't even like each other.
This is the first time I'm so thankful to Adamant when I was reading this, because you imagine it's a small scene and you think, oh, everybody's in it together.
Yeah.
But actually, there was something about the Clash, actually, that I always thought they were on the outside a bit. And Bernie Rhodes had the Clash. I thought they were more a band following like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. They were more not traditional. They were clearly had the punk ethic.
Yeah.
But I did think there was something more concrete about them than there was with Malcolm McLaren and the Sex Pistols and all these other people jumping on stage and screaming. But I didn't know about this kind of
divide,
personal loathing.
Yeah, no.
He actually even explains why we think it's all one big happy scene is because the music journalists who would come and write about punk for the National Music Press and stuff weren't really part of the scene. They would just come and dip in and dip out to write that article, so they didn't actually know the relationships between everyone. So they would just report, oh, this is the punk scene, this whole thing. But actually within it, of course, there were just lots of different relationships and arguments and falling outs. And
yeah, but he was very much on the Malcolm McLaren side because he befriended Jordan, and therefore, and he's talking about Vivienne Westwood working in that back room, just knocking out the costumes, and they're hanging out at this posh flat near Parliament, which was a brothel where punks were welcome. And there's a dominatrix madam who catered for MPs.
Of course, bet she was busy.
And the punks are all hanging out there. It's hard to get your head around, though, punks and MPs all mixing up in a brothel near Parliament.
It's funny because as much as like the MPs wouldn't want you to know they were hanging out with punks, the punks wouldn't want you to know they were hanging out with MPs either.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, right. Yeah. What happens next?
So he's in with the punk scene and he's hanging out with Malcolm McLaren, and kind of the Ants, the band the Ants, are kind of slowly coming into existence. And then one night at the Roxy, well, actually it's the last night of the Roxy, Susie and the Banshees play the last ever gig in the Roxy in April 1977. Adam's there and he's feeling, okay, you know, this is the moment where I need to get all of my ducks in a row, all of my ants in a row. Then he gets really serious about getting the Ants together and getting them on stage. They hadn't really played any gigs at this time. And so he's approaching people to be the manager of the Ants. That's when they go back to Eve, i.e. Carol, his wife's parents' house. And that's the first time Adam and the Ants actually play together in her bedroom.
Oh, there's lots of faff with managers and signing. There's a lot of disappointment. They get signed and then dropped, and then signed and then dropped. It must be really hard for him because he's so depressed on and off.
So they pick up like a manager who starts getting them gigs in places. And one of their first gigs is in this tiny theatre between John Dowie and Victoria Wood.
That's so weird.
So it's this little theatre. This is really weird to think that before Victoria Wood's coming on to do a little bit of stand-up. And this is still the 70s. So what, is she on TV yet? I think I
don't know.
Might be getting on TV. I think she's making appearances on That's Life, playing her piano or something.
But it's like a comedy cabaret show.
Yeah, Adam and the Ants are kind of part of this comedy cabaret. It's so old school, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really weird.
It's almost like vaudeville, but it's in this little club in 1970s punk London.
Yeah, amazing.
I love that, actually. It's very New York, actually. Do you remember when we read Richard Pryor? Like, Nina Simone would come on and then Richard Pryor
Music and comedy. Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's a variety show.
Yeah.
You're getting entertained by every type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then from that, they get booked to support X-Ray Specs. And so they are kind of now performing with established punk bands on the punk scene. Yeah. But they're finding it hard with these managers. They're kind of picking them up and dropping them off. And then Adam says, oh, I know Jordan can manage us. And she actually agrees to do it. Not that she's a manager.
No.
But she loves the Ants and she knows the scene inside out.
Yeah, that's true.
And so she manages them for a little bit. And so the Ants are kind of underway, and he admits that the constant like playing live and rehearsing, and he throws himself into Adam and the Ants, and he says it kind of really helps. He's on a level now for the first time in ages.
Yeah.
You know, he's not having his mad brain because he's got so many ways of channeling it. He's also working as a painter and decorator. Here you go.
Yeah.
And he's also having lots of sex.
He's living the life. You know,
pure sex.
Talking of that their outfits were all sort of Vivienne Westwood's. It was all bondage gear and rapist mask, he says at one point, like really dark stuff. But it's one of the people who wanted to sign him, I think it was Decker or someone, who said, look, could you tone down that stuff? And that's when they started
Get rid of it,
yeah, and he was like, well, if they might sign us, we'll change our act. And he started to become a bit more wholesome.
So things are beginning to move now, right? They record a couple of singles, which do well on the independent charts, and they're doing gigs up and down the country. So the music press don't like them for whatever. I think it might be because they had this highly sexualized image, But anyway, it doesn't matter because the fans love them. They're building up an audience and they record their first album, Dirk Wears White Socks, which again, I think it gets to number 1 on the independent album charts. So they're building a following. They're getting noticed. But the lineup of the Ants is very fluid. Lots of people, musicians, band members come and go. But Adam's always there at the front and things are beginning to happen for him. This is right at the end of the 1970s. Oh, but things really start to move when a certain music manager gets involved.
Malcolm McLaren finally says, okay, I will manage you. And that was his dream. That's literally his number 1 dream, for Malcolm McLaren to manage him, because he just finished with the Sex Pistols. I think Sid Vicious had died.
Malcolm McLaren, after obviously the Sex Pistols burnt so brightly and then kind of left as quickly as they came after they disrupted everything. And of course, Malcolm McLaren was famous at that point himself for masterminding it all. He needed something to do. You know how like the pop stars need their next record and actors need their next film? Well, in order to stay relevant, Malcolm McLaren needed a new band. You know, it had been a while since he'd really done anything. And so he then decided to take on Adam and the Ants. But I think it was very underhand. We know through reading Vivienne Westwood, etc., that Malcolm McLaren is not a very nice man.
Yeah.
He's very Machiavellian.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know he did this. I didn't know he did this to Adam Ant, and it shocked me. I bet you knew, but I did not know. Okay, so he takes them on 3 weeks. 3 weeks of nurturing. He's like, you need to listen to these African drum beats. You need to listen to this. You need to look at that art. Look at this costume. And really like solidly nurturing them. And then 3 weeks later, all the bandmates turn up to rehearsals and Adam turns up and they all wouldn't look him in the eye. And he's going, what's going on here? And one of them goes, yeah, I'm leaving. I think I've done my time. And then, all right, then we'll carry on without you. And the others go, yeah, we're leaving as well. All the band are leaving and nobody will look him in the eye. Malcolm won't even look in the eye. And he goes, Jesus Christ, it's Malcolm. He's talked them out of it. And the next thing he knows, all of his ants have turned into Bow Wow Wow, the band, with the 14-year-old Annabella Lewin. What was their tune?
Wild in the Country.
Yeah.
I Want Candy, Chihuahua. They had loads. They were ace.
Yes, so Bow Wow Wow were the Ants. Unbelievable.
He didn't just steal the band, he stole the whole music and theme and style
that Adam and the Ants were working on. So then he's like, what an absolute utter arsehole. So, right, this is actually the making of Adam and the Ants. Now you look back, because he went to this bloke called Marco Peroni, who was an early guitarist of Susie and the Banshees, and he was around on the scene, and he phoned him up and said, can you come and work with me? Because I know what I need is that one writing partner that we can do it together. And they said 50-50 split. They were a team.
Yeah.
That was the thing that clicked. These two personalities just coming together, musically and just socially. And then they wrote hits. You know, it all has to happen for a reason, doesn't it? But that doesn't let Malcolm McLaren off the hook. But the triumph is that it kind of fueled Adam, and he was like, right, we've got to get this stuff out before Malcolm McLaren, because then it'll look like we're copying him. And it's not, it's the other way around. So we've got to get the outfits, we've got to get the sound, and we've got to get it out there now. And they did it. They actually did it. They wrote Dog Eat Dog, Ant Music. Ant Music was on top
Kings
of the Pops.
Wild Frontier.
1980, yeah, and it was only number 2 because John Lennon had just been shot and Imagine got to number 1. That's the only reason. Yeah, Stand and Deliver happens. There's Royal Variety Show. He's just straight away, they've done it. They're in.
Yeah, and now he's the biggest pop star in the country.
He really is. His girlfriend at this time, by the way, was a young Amanda Donohoe.
A 16-year-old Amanda Donohoe, should we say.
16, yes, who basically did throw herself at a young Adam in 1978. But she sticks around for quite a long time. And in fact, he encouraged her to go to drama school to become Amanda Donohoe.
She's in the videos, isn't she? She's in Stand and Deliver.
And suddenly it's obvious that that's Amanda Donohoe, but I never knew that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. That is pretty cool. That's a great first boyfriend.
Is it cool? She sounds like a complete fucking nightmare.
Yeah, but so's he. So,
I think this is payback. This is what happens when you get a 16-year-old girlfriend. They're immature and they're off the rails and they cause drama all the time. And that's what was happening.
Yeah, she caused a lot of drama when she read his diary and found out he was shagging like 3 girls a day. and she thought he was her boyfriend.
Well, that's also the other side of that, is that's what happens when you go out with a pop star.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're both as bad as one another.
Yeah, I know.
But she's 16, so, you give her the benefit of the doubt. She's young and immature.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the whole thing sounds like a nightmare. And through his, massive burst of fame, where their album, Kings of the Wild Frontier, is #1 for 10 consecutive weeks. Let's not forget that he is absolutely massive.
Huge.
This is like Beatlemania again, but with Adam in the end.
Oh, yeah.
And that's so cool because he's such an exciting pop star, He's dressed up,
Yes.
He's theatrical. We've read this for many people, but it's just like that first appearance on Top of the Pops when he comes out with the military jacket and the white stripe across the nose.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, that shoots him to success. He's such an interesting, charismatic performer.
Totally. He really is. Well, look what it did to me. Maybe dress up.
In your knickerbockers.
But the videos are really fun as well, aren't they? Prince Charming. But the story itself is really fun. Stand and deliver. It's just great.
Do you know what? I was thinking of you so much when I read this book, because even though he came through punk, actually what he's really sure about is that he's an old-fashioned performer. He calls himself a song and dance man. And actually, when you watch his videos, it is old school performance. It is theatre. It's vaudeville.
It is.
And his videos are actually pantomime.
Well, yeah, the one definitely is the Prince Charming. He sort of plays Cinderella.
I mean, he's got Diana Dawes being the fairy godmother.
Yeah, because he said he plays Cinderella, so I had to watch it. And I was like, oh, he's a man, but he's the downtrodden sweeper, with a horrible stepmother and all that. Yeah. And Diana Dawes as the fairy godmother. It's brilliant.
But I couldn't think of another pop star who really lent into that pantomime style.
Well, I mean, it's not panto, but of course the dressing up with Boy George and people, and then the new romantics with all the frilly collars and, you could dress up as any 80s pop star so easily. Everybody had a look, whereas now it's all, well, actually, that's not true. Lots of people have a look now.
Go on, name one. Name somebody now who has a very definitive look.
Well, Katy Perry.
No, she doesn't have a look. She looks like every other American 40-year-old woman.
Oh.
She does. You're not telling me. If you took her face and just had a graphic of her hair and clothes, you would not know that was Katy Perry.
Yeah.
It could be anyone.
I see your point.
Gaga probably at points.
Yeah, there's certain people who are still doing the theatre.
Yeah.
The whole entertainment package.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of them. They're the big ones.
No, there's not quite a few of them at all. There's not. They just look like women in nice clothes or men in trendy clothes. Nobody really looks like a pop star in the 80s.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, Chapel Rowan dresses up
she does,
times,
yeah.
I guess. But she doesn't have a definitive look.
No,
she doesn't have a
that's
definitive
true.
look.
Yeah, well, Adam Ant does talk about that. He says that he got rid of the military jacket. He thinks too soon because he thought he ought to evolve and change, but then that was his trademark and then it all got confused.
Oh, yes. He gets a phone call one night, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like, hey, it's Michael Jackson. I love it. I've heard it before, actually, because of me being a Michael Jackson fan. He's like, no, it's Michael. Fuck off, puts the phone down. It always happens. No, it really is me, Michael.
Yeah, imagine being Michael Jackson. You just want to phone somebody and nobody takes you seriously.
Everyone's like, stop taking the piss, mate. Dave, or whatever. I think eventually, what's Quincy Jones' phone says, hi, it's Quincy Jones. I've got Michael here. He's like, oh, bloody hell. And he's like, oh, right. What do you want? It's the middle of the night. And he's like, I just really love your military jacket. Where did you get it from? And he tells him. And the next thing you know, Michael Jackson has exactly the same jacket. And that's really a thing that happened.
Yeah, no, I can picture Michael Jackson in it.
Yeah. And Michael Jackson comes back a lot in his life. Well, a few times because he ends up doing the Motown 25. I had no idea Adam Ant was in that. I watched it. Then Diana Ross comes on unexpected dancing about. And he's like almost the only white performer in that. It's such an honour that they let him into that. I think. I mean, he thought it too.
It's interesting, because he really, really, really tries to crack America for years.
I think he did to a point, because he's still touring now.
Oh, do you know when he says that one of the biggest disappointments in his life was that he wasn't asked to be on the Band-Aid record?
Yeah, right.
And then actually, when you think about it, why wasn't he asked? He would have been perfect to have been on.
Do you know what I would say? Either he's pissed someone off because he is depressive and he probably yells at people a lot by his own account, or they just forgot to ask him. So it was all a bit of a rush job.
They forgot to ask.
I reckon they just forgot him.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he did get a slot on Live Aid.
Yeah, he did get on Live Aid. Yeah. Watching all his heroes.
So perhaps afterward, do you know what then? What happened then? After the Band-Aid record was done, Bob Geldof and Midge went, shit, we forgot to ask Adam Ant.
Yeah, that's it.
And then they said,
did.
Don't worry, we'll give him a slot on Live Aid.
Yeah. And do you know what? He really wanted to get into acting. All the time he was trying to do a bit of acting. He was doing a bit of films. And he turned down Miami Vice more than once, which is ridiculous. Because he just thought it was a bit cheesy. And it is not a bit cheesy. It's the best TV show ever made. Even Phil Collins was in it.
Well, some might say that would make it cheesy.
No, I won't hear a word said against Phil.
Well, Phil Collins works with Adam and Marco, doesn't he? He produces Puss in Boots.
Yes, which I didn't know. Yeah. Phil must have mentioned this in his autobiography, but I don't remember it. He might have left it out. But when he was living in Switzerland, he was producing in his own studio. So he produced Puss in Boots and Strip, and he got Frida from ABBA to come and do a rap in the song Strip. There's no way I knew that was Frida.
I didn't know that was Frida. No, I didn't know that was Frida.
Unbelievable.
Isn't it? This kind of signalled a change in his career, really, because Puss in Boots was the one before. Now, that video is very panto because it's Dick Whittington, isn't it? It's about the cat going to London to meet the Queen.
Yes.
And because of his look, for the last 3 or 4 years, kids' TV have really championed him. Because obviously, even though it's really cool music that the teenagers are into, visually, it's exciting for children.
Yeah.
And so this is a big part of him being a massive, massive pop star, is that he's got the kid market as well. And he was also very clever with that. He picked up that the music papers like NME and Melody Maker probably run about 200,000 copies a week. But if you get in with the tabloids like The Sun, well, then that's 5 million copies a day.
Yes.
And so his image was so strong and it appealed to families. So he was getting a lot of coverage. And then when Puss in Boots come out, that was another top 10 hit with this fun video with the cats and stuff. And then the next track, because he wanted to mature a bit, and obviously he's highly sexual.
Yes.
He releases Strip. And Strip is just too adult to be shown on kids' TV.
Yeah.
And that record is his first record that doesn't make the top 40.
No.
So this is a real change, and it happens quite quickly. It's a huge disappointment for him.
Yeah, totally stiffed.
And he finds it really hard to really claw back.
Yeah, he does.
I think he has Apollo 9, which is a great
I love that. Yeah, that was
tune,
great.
by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that has the spaceman imagery. So again, he's back on kids' TV.
Yes.
But I think this is now his moment's kind of passing. And this is where he spends more and more time in America touring. And he does loads and loads of tours and stuff. Oh, but he injures himself quite badly, doesn't he, at the beginning of one of the tours?
He does.
He fucks his knee up.
He does.
Oh my God, look, we're running out of time already. There's so much. There's still so much to talk about. What's left? Quick. Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh my God, he's hanging out with Michael. He goes to Neverland. I love that. Yeah, he falls in love with Jamie Lee Curtis. She's a very young actress then as well, which is so weird now to think about that. But yeah, that was a good girlfriend. And he also had a long relationship with Heather Graham. So he loves the actresses.
Because what I didn't really realise is how many films, etc., he'd been in. I don't think of him as an actor at all.
No.
And he liked acting. And he actually said at one point it took precedence over the music.
Yes, you're right.
I guess as the music career in the UK was quietening down a bit, he went into... But he's been in a lot of films, and I can't say I've even ever seen him act once.
No, I've never heard of most of the films he's been in. So,
but he took it very, very seriously, and he went to acting classes.
Yeah, he was in LA.
And one of the other people in one of these acting classes was a young Heather Graham.
Yeah.
Very young, I would say.
Yeah, 23, yeah. But I mean, both Jamie Lee Curtis and Heather Graham sound lovely, and he really loved them. Like, he takes these girlfriends up to a point and they might move in together, or... he knows that a serious commitment is got to happen. As soon as it seems like they might have to live together, he basically has a total mental breakdown. And it's obviously PTSD to do with his childhood and being trapped in a house with violence, a relationship that's violence. Like you say, he would have heard way too much in that tiny flat with his mum, dad and everything. And he hasn't never dealt with that trauma. So relationships, when they get into a house together, they trigger this horrendous memory stuff, and he just totally loses it. Like, he properly loses it, like weeping for 2 weeks, shaking, like physically shaking. And these women are trying to help him and guide him through, and they understand when he breaks up with them because they understand him and they love him. So, there's a lot of love.
Yeah, which is testament to what a lovely man he is.
Yeah, I
they
think
obviously
so.
care about him and want to help him, but ultimately it just becomes too much because he needs a lot of
He's
help.
got serious mental health issues,
Yeah, and I think at this point, after Heather Graham, he does check in to a psychiatric hospital for a couple of weeks. No, for like 3 months.
Yeah, he does actually, yeah.
So he's finally getting the kind of help that he needs. But whilst Adam has got all of this going on, there's so much upheaval and his mind is going crazy. He has this very, very persistent stalker.
Yes.
And what I hate about this is that he names her in this book, and he's obviously a part of her life. I mean, that's exactly what she wanted. She's part of Adamant's history now.
Yes, that's true.
I wish that he never mentioned her.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a bad signal to other people. Oh, if I stalk my icon, I might end up in their autobiography.
That's true.
But this was really unsettling,
But I mean, she even got into his house. I think she crawled through the dog flap or something, and she left things in his house. Now, if you're already very, very vulnerable and somebody's in your safe space physically, that did it. But at least to name it in the book, saying this finished me. This gave me a total breakdown. He was terrified.
Yeah, well, he got a gun because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was terrified.
Yes, that's not good.
It's not good, but, all of this is just playing on his mind is so unsettled anyway.
I know.
So we have this whole period now of him kind of just
disintegrating.
Getting more psychiatric help. The fame has gone. He's getting a few acting jobs. He doesn't have do you know what? What we've not talked about is the revolving door of women in his life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Carol, Lorraine, Nicole.
Oh, yeah.
Dozy Beaky, Mick and Titch.
They all overlap. There's dancers.
Yeah.
Yeah, all sorts of people. Oh, yeah. So was it like the late 90s he met that 25-year-old PR person who worked for Vivienne Westwood? They actually had a daughter. I don't know how he managed to get that far with her. I really do not. But he really loves his kid.
Well, he's got a daughter called Lily, born at the end of the 90s. And I kind of thought, not long after she's born, Lorraine moves out because Adam's very hard to live with. It kind of made me question her motivation to have a child with him, actually. It's so well documented at this point how he is.
Although he's very lovable, of course.
Yeah, I know.
And he really wanted to change. Yeah.
When he also had this stalker, he had the baby in the house, and the stalker learned that if she rang the doorbell long enough, that he would come to the door because it would wake the baby up. It's just like everything, even though he has this new start with his baby and it's everything to him and it can put him back on the straight and narrow, he has this stalker messing that up and causing more stress with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, the one thing that I did know about him, it was interesting to read about the part which was in the news about 20 years ago when he was arrested for waving a gun around in central London.
I do remember that being in the news, yeah.
Because actually it was not as massive as the papers made it out to be. You just thought he was a complete nutter waving a gun about in a pub. Actually, it turns out he kind of was.
He was. No, he actually was.
But it's interesting to know. I mean, something provoked that. He'd been down Camden Market and he was talking to a designer. He was interested in working with her, getting her to make some clothes for him. So he gave her his number. Her partner found Adamant's number, accused him of trying to shag his girlfriend, and phoned Adamant about 20 times in the same evening. Which then, of course, he's paranoid. He's had a stalker. He's having lots of problems in his head. It scares him that he's got this man pursuing him.
Yes. And he was threatening his daughter as well. He's like, I'm going to get you and your kid.
There you go.
And that's what really triggered it.
And so he goes in pursuit. He's already got this gun because he's had a stalker. So he gets it and he goes looking for him. And he goes to the Prince of Wales pub and walks in and all the regulars laugh at him.
Well, he comes out of the pub after they laugh at him and throws a car motor through the pub window, right, which could have injured quite a lot of people, let's face it. And then they all ran out of the pub saying, we're going to kill you. So there was a chase And when they cornered him, then he pulled the gun on them and that made them all run away. But then they called the police and said the man with a gun. And yeah, he got a suspended sentence, but he was sectioned for 6 months in hospital and totally had a massive breakdown. Psychotic episode.
Oh, for sure. You know, this whole book just, you know, he's such a fantastic pop star and performer. And I hate that the other side of that is just this complete lifetime of this troubled mind, you know. It makes me feel so sad.
I agree.
He seems to be okay now, though, doesn't he?
I don't know because...
I mean, he's still gigging. He looks great.
Well, he cancelled last year's tour because of mental issues, and now this is it rescheduled.
Okay.
So I think it's up and down.
Oh.
But, you know...
Of course, well, it's bipolar, but I mean, hopefully it's more up than down, and hopefully it's being taken care of more, but...
Yeah, and you just want to celebrate the man for everything he achieved, which is a lot.
He just is an absolutely brilliant, fantastic performer, and he always will be.
Yes, yeah.
Legend of our lifetime, and do you know what? He's still going.
He is still going.
He hasn't expired.
I know.
When you think about everything that he's had to put, so many people in his position either overdose or just end up one way or another and it's over. Actually, Adam Ant is still going, and that should absolutely be celebrated because that has not been easy.
I totally agree with you. It's an absolute triumph.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He stood and he delivered.
Hey!
No, that is lame.
No, I like it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Thrift Shop Biography. We love making this podcast and we're absolutely thrilled that so many of you are already listening. You could really help us out by leaving us a review somewhere, wherever you listen to this podcast. And if you could share us, tell your friends about us, or drop some links on social media. We have a Facebook page called Thrift Shop Biography, so make sure you come over there to hear about the episodes first and what else we're up to. Okay, see you next week. And if you're new here, there are loads more episodes now to go and listen in the back catalogue, so make sure you go and enjoy them. Okay, thank you very much.